Beautiful start.
We've talked a lot about the benefits of a double-hander. Well, there's another one right there. They've got options on the pass. I defy the many single-handers to come up with that shot on the run. You know how good one was Pat Cash?
Yep.
Super strong forearm.
He did.
He could really do it.
Pretty flashy player at times, Tallon. Big serve, big forehand, can kind of work the ball very nicely off that wing. Have a lot of patterns, it feels, which makes him even more dangerous.
15.
He's actually a pretty stocky build for a tennis player, isn't he? He's kind of from knees up through the hips. He looks pretty strong, and you know, tennis, a lot of power is generated out of the ground. So you talk about the big serve and the big forehand, because he's not incredibly tall by the standards of some of the players on tour, but he's built a bit more like a rugby second rower than most on tour. It was something I always looked at Stan Wawrinka. The guy is a rock. When you look at his serve and the power he generates off the ground, a lot of it is just his strength through his legs and midsection.
Said he didn't have a great off-season or pre-season. He wasn't even sure what to call it. He said he just he didn't really elaborate in his press conference after his loss to Casper Ruud. Just said it hasn't been fantastic. Still trying to sort of feel the ball, feel the conditions. Well, he's feeling it early on here.
Game team Netherlands, first game.
You like rules, Wally?
As a rule, yes. I live by them.
I like that. So in tennis, for however long we've had it now, aren't you supposed to just change after the first game?
Yeah, don't start me. We've got to hurry this up. Like, what's this about?
Well, I
tie
mean,
breaks too.
And it's not so bad. Yeah, tie breaks you stop, but it's not so bad in main tournaments because you've got obviously the benches by the umpire's chair, so you're heading in at least in the right direction.
Yeah, no.
But why are we allowed? Anyway,
Petch, I'm with you on that one. Let's play.
Yeah,
players continuous.
They played one game. Let's get on with it. Anyway, that was a small point of order.
Yeah, look, I'm not a big fan of towels during play. Wear a sweatband. Get your Lendl sawdust. Do something. You can't stroll back for the towel every 5 minutes. We don't have ball boys to give them to you anymore. It takes forever. Look at this.
Borna Coric.
Well, we don't have it on screen, but Tallon's had to go from side to side depositing towels. Still getting ready to return. That's like a 2-minute break at One Love.
Welcome to the laundromat.
There was some ridiculous stat pitch I saw 1 year at Wimbledon, and grass is not maybe a great example, but I think the ball was only in play for like 16 minutes or less over and I think it was a 5-set match. So we can speed things up a little.
Yeah. I say he's got a big forehand, and particularly on the return, it's dangerous. It is very flashy. You will see a number, I think, tonight. Cross-court winners from the due side from Tallon off that forehand wing. He gets after it.
He doesn't have one of those forehands with the extreme grip where he really tucks the elbow to the body, so you can sort of see that forehand on the run. He can enjoy. Well, that is a great return. Server on the second serve, he's falling away to the backhand side naturally, trying to deliver that kick serve. And the off backhand, this beats him by meters. Great shot.
Team went over to Belgium to work with his coach, Christophe Vliegen.
Eva would like that. She said he probably needed to be a bit more aggressive and win his share of the points by being offensive, and there he was, quick to use the backhand line. Even if you do it early, it just sends a message. You're going to drop it short, drop a second serve short, I'm coming.
That is a good play, and I'm surprised more players these days aren't using it.
I'm with you on that. The double handers are so safe, and they're strong. They don't mind if the ball gets up a little high. They've got the left hand to control it. And look at this. That's just money. That's just taking the energy out of the serve and directing it line. That's beautiful play.
It's nice to see Borna do a little bit of that tonight. If you look at Tallon's second serve spot, as with so many players, it's coming into that double hander of his, particularly on the deuce side. That's a lovely little finish.
Team Croatia.
Let's raise the IQ a little bit. Mark Philippoussis, good evening.
Good evening, guys. Wasn't a bad little serve and volley. Some nice touch there to finish off that point.
Give me the form guide on Tallon Griekspoor, Mark.
He's got a nice all-round game, you know. Like you said, takes the ball. I love the way he just steps into the ball, takes it early. Those backhand returns on the second serve, beautiful to watch, and he's a shot maker. You know, very loose with the racket head, very fluent.
15 love.
The way he hits it. It's a really nice contrast of two players playing different kind of tennis tonight. This is going to be a nice one to watch.
Well, Pat, you said it. We're going to see some nice running cross-court forehands from Griekspoor, and that was one case in point. This is not necessarily on, but almost made that look easy. So many players there would have pulled trigger line, and the more extreme your grip is, the harder it is to go cross-court. That's a pretty old-school forehand.
I'm always interested in the consequences of that as well.
14,
you know, the fact that you know your opponent is capable of hitting that shot forces you to have to play more off center in those moments to kind of cover that, because when you open up the angle, he actually loves that. But then obviously he has a fairly comfortable look down the line as well. So it creates all sorts of problems when you have that beautiful running forehand.
And good on him for coming in there. It was something that he didn't really do against Casper Ruud. And he maybe didn't want to come in on those terms, using a slice, but he committed to it. Actually played it nicely.
Game, Team Netherlands.
Lots of fast and furious hitting early on between these two, and the opening 3 games sees no breaks so far. 2-1. While we're staying down in the city, and if you just went a little east from where we are playing tennis, you would find yourself in Sydney Harbour, which is the aquatic playground for Sydney Siders. More than 150 miles of shoreline. Quite incredible, isn't it? And of course, home to the amazing and iconic Sydney Opera House and Sydney Harbour Bridge.
Petch, just half a kilometre from where we are, we could jump into the Parramatta River and swim into Sydney Harbour if we were so inclined.
Yeah, if you saw me swim, you would rephrase that question, I think. Do you know how many rivets are in the Harbour Bridge?
Oh. Hundreds of thousands.
6 million.
Come on.
6 million rivets that they got to look after.
There was a bit of forethought to the Harbour Bridge, you know, because they built it wide. Normally they build it 2 lanes and then you're kind of screwed. But they built it wide back in 1927 or whatever it was.
Find that person.
Yeah.
Must have been a lady.
Because where I live...
Must have been a lady with a bit of forethought.
Where I live in Manly, there's a spit of water and we have to go over the spit bridge and they open it for boats.
Yeah.
Like, where's the forethought there?
Yeah, no, that's...
They built that a long time ago and now I have to wait for the boats to cross. Crazy. But whoever built that bridge, hats off to you. And hats off to the government for building the Opera House back in the day. Yeah. That was visionary. And well done, Jorn Utzon, for the design. Norwegian, I believe.
Good knowledge. Nothing gets past you. Nothing so far getting past Borna either. Artistic merit, 10 out of 10.
Love 15.
Flip, you'd enjoy that, wouldn't you? A bit of power blended with control, with touch.
That point had it all, and disguise on this drop shot at the end. I mean, Borna, he's a fast guy, and he didn't even move, didn't even flinch on that one.
Interesting watching Borna hit his slice backhand. You watch him hit it, and he'll actually often go down the line like he did there, but he drops so deep afterwards, which to me doesn't make sense unless he's playing somebody like Rafa with the forehand that Rafa has. But when you've hit it that slowly and that low, the person down the other end hasn't got much to work with. They've got to get it up and down. You have an opportunity to maybe stay up closer to the baseline, take the ball on the rise and actually make something happen. You saw his forehand after the slice and he was taking the ball on the way down almost on the court surface.
Wow. Some jump on that second serve. And the other thing too, Petch, is if you do hug the baseline after that shot and they float it, you can go. Take it out of the air, take a little time away. But these are some things that, you know, you probably have to think about as a junior and work on as a junior to look for those possibilities.
best sport in the world.
How much better is Borna for the run the other day? Like the other day, he just seemed a little bit stifled. He didn't have a lot of creativity or imagination. But have a look at this. Clever play. I mean, I was always taught the answer to a drop shot is a drop shot. He was often running on that one. He saw it. Asks the same question of Griekspoor. See those green spots? It's a lily pad on a pond, isn't it?
You sound like Monet.
And you have to jump from lily pad to lily pad. The further they are apart, the tougher it is.
40-15.
It's a game for frogs, Petch.
Game, Team Croatia. 2 games all.
We'll take a couple of pieces. Flip, you were one of those annoying players that used to get one ball, weren't you, and then get the second one from the ball kid?
Yes, I was one of those players.
Why?
I just felt like there's no reason. I didn't like having that ball in my pocket, and just felt like if the kids are there, might as well use them.
Can't argue with that.
Equal opportunity sort of guy, Flip. He wants to give everyone a job.
That's right.
Just the second serve that he's seen this evening. It's been some wonderful deliveries already from Griekspoor with his first serve. Nearly made something happen.
Actually spent a bit of time with Liam Smith, who's now coaching Borna Coric. He was working for Tennis Australia. We worked together at the National Academy here for Tennis Australia. And he's actually a very good developmental coach, like breaking a shot down, getting a younger player. So he had a couple of boys, I think 14, 15 years old, you know, kind of building their game. He actually did that really well. But he's had a good stable of players on the Pro Tour as well.
They're working a little bit with Coco for a short while, of course, Gael Monfils. It's a definite strategy that he's employing against Coric. He sees space in the forecourt. And for a second time, he's come up with something very, very special. Griekspoor, 3-2.
If you guys hit a drop shot, would you have hit a forehand drop shot, or was it always the backhand?
I mean, more often than not, I think it would be the backhand Flip.
Sorry, I missed that one, guys.
When you hit your drop shots, Flip, we always use the backhand. These days, the guys seem equally adept, forehand or backhand.
Yeah, if I kind of had a relatively short forehand, I had one thought, and that was to rip it and look to move in. Yeah, the backhand, definitely on the backhand side, if I, you know, you could either chip and charge sometimes, or definitely was a side that felt more comfortable to go for the drop shot. But it's also something that I never worked on. And you see these guys on the practice court working on that drop shot on the forehand side.
Casper did it pretty well against Borna the other day on a couple of big points. Drop shots.
There is Liam Smith.
Time.
Under the roof here at the Ken Rosewall Arena, and already these two players, after what has been about 22 minutes of play, gracing this iconic place, because there's been some wonderful shot making between these two. It's been a much more creative performance from Griekspoor so far, and both of them look, as Wally was just saying, good for the run out that they had against Casper Ruud. Even though they came second best against the Norwegian, this has been some clean hitting. It's a good change-up, isn't it, from Borna? After the two-hander, we saw Griekspoor waltz through and just cream down the line.
He looked to be doing it again, didn't he? He really marched, hugging slightly left of centre there and almost looking for the backhand again to take on the rise. Good little change-up. At 161, it's a fair second serve.
Love. 40 love.
I like it though. We've seen so many players returning deep in the court, and here he is. I mean, he's got pretty. I'm not saying he's curbing his swings. I mean, he takes a pretty good cut at it, but taking the ball on the rise. We saw Manarino very effective returning up around the baseline against Zverev.
Game, Team Croatia.
Quickly through half of the opening set, 3 apiece. I believe Mark Philippous managed to sidle up next to Ivan Dodik. Is that right?
That's right, guys. I'm here with Ivan. And first of all, Ivan, happy birthday. I heard you're 39 years old today. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's correct. I'm still very young, feeling happy and motivated.
Well, you certainly have not changed over the years. This is a tough match today with Borna. You know, he hasn't played since the US Open. Tough match against Casper. You know, I felt like he's hitting the ball well, but what changes do you feel like you would like to see from him in tonight's match?
Yeah, for now it's very close match. You know, everybody's holding very good serve. You can see the Griekspoor. He's serving like 90% for serve. So it's wow. Great point. Very difficult, you know, when somebody serve 210 over 200 every serve have 90%. You know very well how is that. But very high level tennis, and I think I'm happy to see Borna is back. You know, he had very difficult last year, a lot of injuries, and he prepared good, and I think he's playing great tennis.
Yeah, no doubt at all. It's great to see. You know, Team Croatia's always been such a very tight, you know, team, and you got such great energy. I'm looking forward to watching you in tonight's mixed doubles. But good night tonight, and thanks for your time, Ivan. And again, happy birthday, man.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll see. We have difficult matches, but we are always competing to the last point, and hopefully we can win this tie and keep running.
Absolutely. Good luck. Thanks for your time.
Thanks.
30-15.
I don't know if that's exactly what Ivan was looking for, an interview with Mark Philippoussis on his birthday, but that's what he got.
How old is Ivan?
I think he's 39.
Young.
Young for doubles. He's probably got another 11 years in it.
Yeah.
Grand Slam doubles titles, 3 mixed Grand Slam titles as well for Ivan. He's had a fabulous career. Singles title as well for him. So
he sort of nudged top 50 in singles, didn't he? Got
I'm going to say he was
just outside.
No, I think he was maybe even
better.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say 30. He was 29.
Netherlands.
Well, you would have been one off.
I would have been wrong. You've either got to be right or they're there. Mark and Ivan carrying on their conversation as we carry on this match. 4-3. That he was a silver medalist at the Tokyo Olympics with Marin Cilic. Cic Pavic picking up the gold there.
Ice.
I might be able to find the middle of one of those rackets, Wally.
Yeah.
Maybe. Just a maybe.
Yeah, big sweet spot. A lot of Croatians here today. They've come out in force. I think we heard that stat last time Croatia played. The biggest population outside of Croatia is here in Sydney, Australia. We're a country of immigrants, Pedge.
That's where we're going to be at home for the duration of the United Cup, as Perth will at some stage come to a conclusion. The players will whisk themselves over. They'll get a little day's rest, the teams that make it from Western Australia, before we get the culmination of this wonderful competition at the start of the season. All to play for still in many of the groups.
It's funny how the scheduling has worked out. Brazil were out before Greece had played a match.
Yeah.
Some teams were rushed through, others were delayed a little. Maybe they were giving Stefanos as much time as they possibly could to get him on the singles court. That wasn't the case, but hopefully tomorrow.
That's why court positioning is so important, and that will be something that he'll just have to rediscover. You feel he's up there, being able to take this on the rise, take away the time for Griekspoor to get back to the middle of the court, and he fires it in behind him.
I know a lot of players like to let the ball drop and they rip up the back of the ball, create a lot of top spin, but when the ball's on the rise, there's so much energy left in the ball, kinetic energy. You can use it. I mean, Manarino kind of displayed that pretty well the other night.
Let's for service. 30-15.
Arguably, he'd already done the hard work with his second serve in terms of keeping Griekspoor back with those quicker ones into the forehand when the Dutchman was up on the baseline. But you could see that Griekspoor had dropped much deeper there. He could have just taken a bit of pace off and rolled it back in there. Didn't need to be quite as aggressive. Is he going to hang around at the back? He's struggled a little bit on this ad side to catch up with the second serve. It's got away from him.
I mean, it's a good point there from Borna, but I feel like, guys, he had 2 opportunities to move in and take that a lot earlier. You know, even maybe with the first forehand, that backhand, but definitely even that last forehand there, he kind of rolled across court, and it was pretty short, just landed over the service line, but ended up winning the point. I'd like to see maybe rip that and come in. Easier said than done, but he does have some solid volleys to back it up, and he's a great athlete.
Conversely, it was interesting. I was watching Griekspoor at the back of the court, and you know, one thing that Casper did so well yesterday was if he was deep, like he'd flip it up high, and then he was busy and he worked hard to get back up closer to the baseline. Tallon, in that particular point that Mark was referencing, he just didn't seem to have the foot speed or the urgency or the desire to change his court position. It was just becoming a case of diminishing returns with every shot. I mean, Casper's such a good mover. He was back, he was forward, left, right.
15 love.
Bet you haven't done the courtside position, but the camps do a lot of talking. Like in Davis Cup, you have your captain, one person, and he kind of gets it. He gets to know the rhythm of what you're after. But I'm telling you, like Team Greece and Team Chile, it was like an orchestra.
Bit of a cultural thing as well. Us Brits were a bit more reserved in the team bench.
But as a player, I just don't know how you could take it all in. Like, which voice do you actually listen to?
I can't hear the Team Netherlands, but I can hear Croatia. It's definitely Captain Eva who's letting herself be heard, and it's always the same, same thing. She's very relaxed, nice demeanor, calm demeanor. We're always telling him, come on. And
40-15.
I'm out.
Exceptionally high first serve percentage from Griekspoor. Absolutely nothing that Coric could do in terms of applying some pressure to the Dutchman's serve. It's 5-4.
Games to 4%.
A little more muted. Team Netherlands. Talk about Tallon having the ability just to zip over to Belgium to hook up with his coach there, Vliegen. And Europe's been the epicenter of the powerhouse of tennis, hasn't it, for a couple of decades, really, and probably Eastern Europe for female tennis. But you talk about their ability, the club structure over there, the tournament scene, and just the intense nature of competition. If you lose a couple of hours, you fly home. Lose on Wednesday, fly home, head back to the next event. setup for the European players. A lot of events, the Northern European players get the benefit of clay in the summer, indoor in the winter.
There's Christopher trying to get his point across in a pretty passionate way. Sitting here at the moment, just looking in the cold autopsy of stats here, Wally. Coric's doing a very nice job with his first serve. He's won 10 out of 11. At what stage do you feel Griekspoor needs to do something, or is he trying to do something? He just hasn't found a solution.
Yeah, sometimes there's a period of time where the quality is just too good, and you have to accept that. But it's been an interesting set in the sense that neither player has generated a break point. And we know that men's tennis is dominated by serve, but the quality of the ground is so good. It's rare for 9 games to go past without anybody generating one break point. So let's see what Griekspoor can do here. Just that little bit of added pressure, serving to stay in the set. Sometimes that's what you're waiting for. A few missed first serves.
Love 15.
There's probably 2 ways to approach returning. One is to build pressure over time, and the other one is you might be more a shot maker, a more mercurial sort of player where you kind of catch fire, get that first point, get excited, spank a winner, love 30, and then it's game on. Sort of catch fire quickly, but don't, Pete Sampras was a bit like that.
Yep.
You break out of the blue and then go for yonks without generating a break point. He stays on that forehand for a long time, doesn't he? The racket, it's a sweet swing, but let's have a look at this last forehand down the line. Really stays on target, on line, body weight moving forward. Good looking shot. Out of nowhere. A couple of unforced errors. And maybe this gets back to, the fact that Borna's had these problems. He just hasn't had the court time, the match time, just that little bit of doubt.
That will be a frustrating miss, though. He was just looking for length. He wasn't trying to do anything too spectacular with the two-hander. But just a little change with the slice has brought Griekspoor to a couple of set points.
I was going to say, you've got to cover wide there. I think that's one thing too. If you stand that far back, the wide serve is, you're vulnerable to it, so you better look for it. I mean, he's gone there 3 times in this game in it alone.
a little missed opportunity there from Griekspoor, but I agree with what you're saying, Wally. You know, a couple of those unforced errors, you know, it just comes down to match play. And you don't really see that until it gets to the business part of sets, where it's just 1 point here, 1 point there, and they start a little bit of doubt enters the mind because they just haven't been in this position for quite a while. And you know, but he's done a good effort to get back to juice here.
What you want to see from Borna. He's got a lot of flexibility on that two-hander to go line or pull it cross court, but you want to see him follow through and come in behind it. Didn't start the game particularly well, but he finishes it emphatically.
5 games all.
Yeah, that would have been a bit of a dagger, wouldn't it, to roll to 5-4 and then just throw in those couple of unforced errors and come unstuck. It would have been tough for him to regroup in that second set, but that is going to be a real boost for Borna. Everyone's starting the season afresh to a degree. No one's got a lot of matches, but he's had less than most, courtesy of the injury.
Shoulder surgery back in 21 and kept him off the tour for a good year. The elbow has been the problem on and off for the last 6 or 7 months. He pulled the ripcord on the season after the US Open last year. His only other decent run at the Australian Open, his only decent run coming in 2019, and that was preceded by a long stint down in Australia prior to that, which is why he's done the same thing this time.
What's so impressive with Griekspoor on that forehand side, he holds that ball to the very last second, and then I feel like at times changes his mind. I thought he was going to go the inside out, sorry, the cross-court forehand, and then pulling it down the line. It just feels like you don't know what he's going to do until he's hit it. Does such a good job with holding on to that ball.
Pretty good job right there. Just gripped it and ripped it.
Absolute frozen road, wasn't it?
I mean, there was nothing to suggest that was on. He was probably 1.5 meters behind the baseline. Just Eva likes it. More of the same, please.
It's beaten a lot when you watch him out wide on the return of serve. And this may be a really ridiculous thing, and both Flip and Wally, you can take me to, you can tear me apart here, but I feel like he's very upright, and the heavy part of your body is your head. And if it's not leaning forward a little bit, it's quite hard to move quickly one way or the other if you're too upright. If it's a little bit forward, it's just a little bit easier to push one way.
So you're saying from the waist, just be a little more crouched.
Yeah.
A la Andy, a la Novak.
Yeah.
He's very narrow too with his feet, isn't he?
Also, you mean just to have some body weight going forward before you make contact with the ball? So you're moving forward while you're hitting the ball?
Yeah, I mean, he does jump forward, but he jumps forward and he's very, I just feel like his head is kind of just perfectly upright. So to come out of that, I mean, you could stand at home and see what I mean. If you could put your head like that, where it's almost feeling like it's pulling you backwards, it's tough to go left or right really quickly. And a lot of the time, and particularly on the ad side, when you watch him, he's incredibly late to get there. He's often having a chip and do a spin round. And I just feel as if, as you said, Wally, like he put his chest forward and his head, he would be able to like move a little bit more on the diagonal and just be able to get out of the corners quicker.
Crouch, plant that left leg, for example, eat it early. And I think, you know, to me it looks a little bit like a clay court return. So if you watch the clay courters, they stand a long way back and they're fairly upright. It's almost like they're mid-rally. They approach a return as almost like a mid-rally ball. And that, to me, getting more into that hard court position, a little wider, a little more crouch from the waist, looking to smother the ball.
Welcome back. Sorry, we were getting down into the reeds there with body positions on return and everything else. Griekspoor's a little bit like that as well, and as you say, Wally, probably just becoming that sort of generation of him returning from deep, almost hitting ground strokes like Medvedev rather than strictly a return of serve.
Yeah, it's like a mid-rally shot, isn't it? Certainly for Medvedev. I mean, he's taking steps and steps to hit the return.
That's beautiful. I'm not going to get down into the rids too much at this stage of the set, but one point there again about being aggressive. Coric, with seeing Griekspoor that far behind the baseline with a great second serve to the two-hander, doesn't need to jump back outside the baseline. He's not going to get hurt from there with Griekspoor. He wants to stay inside the baseline and potentially capitalise on a short return.
So, Petch, I'll take that a step further. Hard courts used to be very quick. Clay courts used to be very slow. Everything has become a bit more generic. They've slowed the hard courts down. They're grittier. They bounce higher. The grass courts have slowed down. The clay's actually sped up. So you've got this very generic game that can be transported to any surface as long as you get the movement right. And I look at what you're saying, and you even think, you know, those old school American players, even like a Jeff Tarango, how they returned, you know, a Scotty Davis. You'd probably have to be a tennis aficionado to know what I'm talking about, but it's exactly what we're talking about, isn't it? They were forward and across, hugging the baseline, short swings, taking it on the rise, and very effective. But it was a low, fast court game. Now we've got a slow, high bouncing game. Everything's changed. Nice return there. There was the nice crouch position that you're talking about. Head over the ball, body weight leaning forward, smothering it. Even though it was a chip, you see Griekspoor's position here. Head down over the ball. And unfortunately, Coric was just retreating. That's a tough thing to do, retreat and play the drop shot.
He's covering that serve that time in this crucial game.
From 40 love to Juice, just looking a little flat as far as his body language. Some couple of very loose points, but Rice is not getting himself up a little bit more.
Advantage Team Croatia.
I love the little tap of the ball on the racket that Borna gives just before he serves. That reminds me of Clubland. When you're a junior and you're playing pennant, the old guy would just let's have a watch of this little move right here. This one. I haven't seen that for a while.
Team Croatia.
It's done well to steady the ship. Started to enter some treacherous waters at Juice. Second serve.
Stati prvi i drugi ako fula, malo mu čuvaj desno. I malo bliže stati, da možeš ući. Ajmo, majstor, ajmo prvi poen, ajmo.
Plenty of encouragement.
There it is, just the little tap there, that just triggers the serve. Very nice.
Team Croatia.
This would do Borna's confidence the world of good. Fight hard, scrap, win a set in a tie break. He'd be a different player in the second.
At his best, I felt like that's what he did. I saw that firsthand in Cincinnati when he was playing, beat Steph in the final. He won the first set, tiebreak, he hung in there, and then he ran away with that second set.
When Tallon's, he starts deep, and it just seems hard for him to get back up. It's
2-0. Team
just not
Croatia.
the energy and the dynamic movement of a Casper obviously, but doesn't seem to have the willingness or the want. And there he's back there again. And it's one thing to return deep, but surely you return deep with a purpose to then try to flip it up high, get it deep off return, and then start to control the court. But where he returns from tends to be where he plays the rest of the point from.
Unbelievable tennis at the United Cup.
Flip, could you just get out on court and just check that's not play? Boys are sliding on a gritty hard court.
0.
What a point.
It's more like squash movement than tennis movement.
Phenomenal. Brilliant. He is born again, Borna.
4-0. Team
That was uninhibited, wasn't it? Just letting the racket go. Griekspoor just has to be a bit careful. He flung his racket towards his team. Didn't hit anybody, but Just got to be a bit careful when the emotion's running hot and you fire your racket somewhere.
Warning, Team Netherlands. Thank you.
He made sure that one is never going to be used again.
Done it properly.
From set points down, suddenly Borna Coric closing in on taking this opening set. 5 straight points in this tiebreak.
And this is like Borna, the old Borna at his best, not thinking, just doing. Great defense. He thought about it. Look at that. He just hesitated. Probably have 6 or 7 of those rackets in the bag.
Team Croatia.
Shows us what he can do. Takes it early and takes it on the rise. 153 kilometres an hour, that winner.
Let out some frustration on that forehand down the line.
And then amongst all the intricacies of this sport, the technicalities of it that we've been talking about, the footwork patterns that are so important, as you say, Wally, that heart desire, that character is the one thing that needs to shine through in these moments. And it has done for the Croatian.
We need to develop some technology to be able to measure that. Turn it into a gig stat. Ticker. A ticker tape.
A measurement of masseur.
A measurement of ticker. This has been a brilliant tiebreaker because it was just almost a little bit of hesitancy in the game of Coric as we're getting towards the tail end of this set, but he hung tough, saved a few break points, and he has lit up this tiebreak.
Croatian tail box just got dispatched to the floor.
Thank you. 6-1. Team Croatia.
If we lose this point, guys, I'm going to have to duck and weave. I don't know what's coming next.
You reckon you could be in the firing line?
That is a scintillating way to save the set point, as you've got 4 more of those up his sleeve.
Team Croatia. Please.
Oh, he's got a second one.
Come on. The first one was good. Well, it was great. This was even better. What a shot.
6-3, Team Croatia.
Once again, Coric doing all the right things. Beautiful cross-court backhand. Couldn't have done much more with that approach shot.
I'm just wondering, do you not come into the forehand side? Just go back to the backhand. I mean, he has shown us a beautiful backhand lob too, but that forehand. He just seems to have so many options.
And this opening set, this captivating opening set, still with a pulse.
Team Croatia.
And some of those doubts that you try and quiet in moments like this, possibly cartwheeling through this man's mind.
You can get a sinking feeling, can't you, when the tide turns against you? Drop shots, 2 brilliant topspin logs, you start to think, hang on a minute.
Magnificent set of tennis. Everything that we love about this sport. And it was encapsulated across all of that hour plus. Griekspoor second best in the end. Team Croatia go up by a set.
Great effort, stayed composed. Tallon, on the other hand, he got a little hot-headed, cost him, couldn't regroup for the beginning of that tiebreaker after he'd lost a couple of opportunities deep in that set. He let it slide, and Borna was good enough to close it out. That will do his confidence a world of good. We just have a look at the stats there. Griekspoor hitting more winners, spectacular on that forehand wing, no question about that. And it's those 2 break points that he didn't get that upset him and sort of set the tempo early in the tiebreak, but well done to Borna Coric. We know that he's a little light on matches, he's a little light on confidence, but he's not light on fight. And that'll get you somewhere.
It's an awful lot to enjoy in that opening set. What a tussle, what an arm wrestle between these two.
You sort of think Griekspoor's got enough tools in his bag to kind of win this match and open it up, but the only thing that concerns me is the depth from which he returns, and then he doesn't seem that willing or unable to get himself back into control his fair share of return points. He needs to say, whatever point I make contact with the return, that's the deepest I'll be in that rally.
Jubilation in the end for the many Croatian fans within the Ken Rosewell Arena as Borna has taken his leave of this court after, oh, he's just popped back there. He was off for just a moment, and you never know what he do. You just, when that paving stone of a win is going to just be there, that actually just propels you back to where he's certainly hoping to be.
I think you see it with younger players in particular, don't you? And then with an older player after an injury, it's a similar scenario. They need to have that win, feel like they belong, take a deep breath. Yeah, it's going to be okay. I can still play this game. And you certainly see it with younger emerging players. They're frustrated because they know they've got something, but they can't quite get the win that sort of makes that statement to themselves and the world that, yep, I can really play here.
And the mistakes that he did make perhaps early on weren't fatal, but they did lead little by little to the truth of how he can potentially win the match, which was important for him. But there's going to be a moment here for Griekspoor also to probably go off court and more just to regroup mentally and reset and try and get himself back into a place where he can be competitive, because his mind was a little bit like a rubber ball in an elevator towards the back end of that set because of the missed opportunities.
Yeah, you know, I mean, he was level pegging. Yeah. No need to get upset. And I'm going to say, Petch, that Fleegan actually used that Technifiber racket.
I think you're right.
Yeah. He's had a big influence on his play.
took the other one off the court with him. I think it might be in a few more pieces.
You reckon he needed a bit more therapy, did
I think he needed a little bit more, therapy. It hasn't made its way back out.
I haven't seen a lot of him, I'll be honest with you, but I like him as a player. I really can do amazing things on both wings. He's talented.
And you still feel as though this match has got an awful lot in it. It's a little bit like a grenade with its pin pulled out, just waiting for it to go off. It was a great conclusion, but it doesn't feel as though that is necessarily the defining moment at all. As I highlighted at the start, Griekspoor's season last year saw him be at almost 50% of matches won, having lost the opening set when he was in that situation. That is a very healthy number for a player on the ATP Tour.
Do you think Tallon will come out anytime soon?
He's ready.
Well, how long are you allowed?
15. So, well, you have your 5.5 minutes, don't you? By the time John is told that he's at the bathroom, he's allowed to change his kit. He can do whatever he wants, really. I mean,
so it's time when you get
to get there. Yeah.
Given that we've got a long tunnel back to the
correct
locker room. Okay.
And that's where, again, just to highlight the point you're making, Wally, he's going to have to counter that serve. He can't just keep sitting where he is, because that's a very, very easy pace. Yeah. 166 Ks. Coric is somebody that averages 190 plus. That's just good placement.
Guys, it's amazing what confidence can do. You know, just right now looking at Borna, just the way he's moving around, the way he's hitting, it just looks like I said, that Borna that when he was playing his best, like a brick wall that you're going to have to hit through him, find a way to hit around him. It's impressive to watch. And,
Game Team Croatia. First game, second seconds.
Bravo, majstore, bravo.
Even a little thing like that, you know, the willingness just to take this out of the air. Just see it and hit it. Trust it.
And this is where, in tennis, when people talk about wanting to speed it up, we've just had a 5-minute break at the end of the opening set, and we should just be walking around. Those are the rules. I mean, if you're going to implement the rules, if you're going to have a rule, then at least implement it. And the fans can't come in. That's the double whammy for me. One thing to allow the players to do what they're doing, but then to not let the fans back in is that is where the dysfunctionality of having 7 different bodies doesn't really work for us, because nobody's grabbing that by the horn and just making it happen. It would take one phone call.
But we just had the end of a set, and then Borna changed all his sweatbands at one love. That just seems odd. That he's allowed to do that. And I don't know why they don't keep the doors open at that mid-level with the walkway. And if you're sitting above, You just move around, come and go. You've got a ticket.
Love 15.
It's incredible that you can charge people big dollars
Yeah.
and you're stuck on the outside for 3 games. I mean, people have got to go to the bathroom. They've got to get a drink, get a beer. Let them back in.
Well, Griekspoor let him back in the opening set. Coric taking advantage of it. What do you think, Flip?
I mean, I know that Griekspoor is a pretty relaxed kind of player, but right now, those 2 very quick unforced errors, and he looks very unfazed, like, you know, not caring too much, but he needs to get that intensity up because right now, man, a lot has changed.
Oh, Borna, he's just patrolling the baseline and trusting the hit. And it's amazing, you know, Tallon Griekspoor, he had 2 break points. Yes, they were set points, but that's nothing in men's tennis. Break points come and go very quickly. If that phases him so much in this arena with so much at stake, it's going to be a tough year. You spoke about how resilient he had been in 2023, Petch. He needs to find a little bit of that now. Just dig in. Hang on to your serve. Stay calm.
You know, just looking at him now too, guys, like you said, he did not have the best preparation or the best off-season. And that first set looked like it's taken a little more out of him than we think. Just watching him walk around and the way he's breathing right now.
I was a bit surprised to hear Taylor Fritz. He had a bit of a thigh fatigue in his match in Perth, and they asked him, Jim Courier asked him in the interview, he said, what's wrong? He goes, oh, I was doing some sprints. I've never done sprints. I thought, wow, A, you've never done sprints, and B, how close to the match were you sprinting if you hadn't done them in the past? It just all seemed a bit like, whoa.
He's got it. He's all over him. There's no stopping Borna at the moment.
Game, Team Croatia. Team Croatia lead by 2 games to love.
So now we've got a 2-love situation. We're just watching that replay of the final point. Well done, Borna. Finds himself at the net again. So both players have wandered over to their towel. It's taken a while. Shot clock just started now. Shouldn't have just started like 20 seconds ago.
There's a lot of discretion.
Guys, next time you guys order coffee, I just want to watch you order coffee and see how you are waiting, looking at that barista, giving you the evil eye.
I just think it's good for the sport. Keep it moving, keep it hustling.
15 love.
Absolutely. It is a phenomenal sport, but there's no question that it can be tidied up and the product can be even more attractive because there are so many more pressures in terms of trying to get eyeballs on the sport, that the more attractive and the more condensed the action can be, it surely has to be better for everybody.
Love. Chila.
Nothing quite going his way. At present, Griekspoor, we kind of anticipated this, that the confidence of a tough, hard-fought first set and coming out on top would do Borna the world of good.
Game, Team Croatia.
It's been beautiful and brutal from Borna in this second set. He reels off
Croatia
3
lead
straight
by
games.
3 games to love, second set.
Bravo, majstore.
New balls, please.
Not easy just to turn on a tap, is it? You know, obviously that match against Casper Ruud was kind of dictated to a bit by Casper. Casper's such a dynamic character, it's hard to control a lot of points. Casper turned defensive and attack pretty quickly, but you know, the fact that he lost that match and obviously identified that he probably need to take it on a little bit more, not be afraid to come in, take advantage of his good shots, you know, just to turn that tap on and do it in this match. Credit to Borna Coric. Would have been very easy just to kind of go into his shell and just try to grind out a win from deep in the court. But Tallon is a little lost.
Time.
Čuvaj bavi, prvi i drugi. Ajmo, majstor, ajmo.
Ja, de aanval alles, ik weet het. Blijven. Kom maar.
Well, Borna's done his job in this match very well. Coming from set points down in that opening set, he is now, as we say, raced out to this 3-love lead.
Music,
what sort of reaction are we going to get from Griekspoor?
Thank you.
So
Ladies and
far,
gentlemen, music,
it's
please.
been very much muted. Team Croatia need to win all 3 matches tonight. And they are in charge in this one.
Fifteen love.
Punten, gaat hij weg, klaar.
Sorry, love.
Kom maar.
Touchy, 15.
Idemo.
Touchy.
Guys, I know that Griekspoor likes to play quick, but right now it looks like he's really rushing between points. no real thought process.
Yeah, he turned and was demanding the ball from the ball kick. Kyrgios pretty quick between points, and Goran, of course, Goran Ivanisevic used to rapid fire when he was serving.
It was pretty quick during points as well.
Yeah.
That's a his.
That's a nice diagonal dagger. Best serve you ever faced, Flip? Who was it?
Team Croatia.
The fastest serve ever faced?
Yeah, just the best serve.
I mean, you know, obviously it's tough not to think about Pete, but Goran, just with that, you know, being a lefty, he also disguised his serve so well. He can flatten it out wide. Of course, he's got that slider. That was a tough one. Ruzetsky also very tough. Also because he had an incredible kicker, and when a lefty has a really good kicker like that, man, it's a nightmare. Hit it up there, high on the forehand side.
Smiles at the moment on the Team Croatia bench. Will they stay there?
$15 love.
See, I mean, yeah, well, he's going there because he's having success, but if you watch the return position there of Griekspoor, he's pretty deep, but he actually moves backwards.
Yeah.
He's tracking backwards. To go laterally be one thing, but you've surely got to go forward and across. It's a close call, but it's...
Thank you.
Surprisingly in.
Yeah. One day, it's going to be reverse pitch, and we're just going to put the headphones down and go home.
Yeah, and again, I was talking about Borna's head position being not in front of his body, and I did touch on it at the time, but Griekspoor's got a little bit of that. Both these two sit around 15% of return games won on hard courts in their career, and that's a low number. You're not going to go that deep at majors with that sort of return number, especially as they don't have a Karlovic, Isner type of serve to get themselves through those.
So that was actually forward and across there.
Yeah,
on that one. And remember, you know, Andy used to be quite wide, quite deep, but he'd take a big hop forward. He'd close the angles down. Yeah, return deep by all means, but forward and across.
It's okay.
40-15.
He's got a deep repertoire of shots off that forehand side. He can do an awful lot of things. Difficult to guard against when his mind's in it.
Well, if you don't come to the net that often, that's actually, it's a difficult shot because it's not something you hit a lot in practice. You don't come to the net a lot in matches.
40-32.
But let's hope that doesn't dissuade him from coming forward. The fact that he had to deal with a difficult, that was the slice right there that led to the half volley that sat up nicely. The more you come in, the better you get at it.
I agree, Wade, but that one also too, I felt like he could have had time just to take a step back and maybe try and roll it over with his two hands instead of going for the half volley drop shot.
He just keeps plugging away in the same area, and it keeps coming up with the same result. Griekspoor needs to counter it. Coric, 4-1, second set.
Super game. Bravo.
got it under control.
Yeah, it's a bit like investing, isn't it? The hardest thing at times to do is just sit and wait.
Yeah.
You always want to do something, but in this moment, he is absolutely where he wants to be. He just needs to keep...
More of the same.
Yeah.
Borna.
Yeah, don't have to say much, right? Just let it flow.
Yeah.
En anders een keertje helemaal achterin staan en dan misschien dat hij hem iets inhoudt of zo dan. De volgende game helemaal. Ja. Dan kijk ik hoog naar de voorhand kan krijgen. Ja, maar dat kikt er niet de box in. Ja.
Might be best to talk to Tallon about something not tennis related at the moment. Just check his mindset.
Motocross or F1. One of his other passions.
There you go. Let's talk about Ferrari's chances in season 2024.
Yeah, well, Max Verstappen, fellow Dutchman, going to be tough to stop again. Still a lot of performance in that Red Bull car.
Time.
You kind of get the mood, the feeling with Griekspoor. If he's in a mood, a positive mood, he can run some games off pretty quickly. He's lost some pretty quickly here, but I get the feeling he can win them quickly too, with the shots at his disposal.
Disengaged early on in this second set. Needs to talk himself off that eternal ledge that he's on at the moment. Doesn't look as though perhaps that's going to happen.
It's a funny sport, isn't it? Because you can carry on like a two-bob watch, lose. There's a consequence, you lose. You know, you think of some of these physical contact sports, you better stay engaged. You're going to get really hurt.
Yeah, the scientists will tell you it's your atavistic part of your brain that you need in these moments, that part of the brain that we have to survive, but it doesn't look as though Griekspoor at the moment has found a way to turn it on.
Well, he's the product of, you know, hundreds of thousands of years of evolution. So his forebears must have had that part of the brain. So he must have, he's arrived at this point.
30, 15.
More of those will help him trundle along and just keep himself still in this match. Very pedantic Borna slice, isn't it?
It's manufactured. It's not a sort of a fluid shot, is it? It's very careful. I kind of think of Borna, I could just imagine him as a junior and his coach saying, we're going to hit 200 backhands. He's going, yes, we will. I will.
Why only 200?
He just seems very intent. Bad luck, but good on him. It was the right move.
Needs to be careful that he doesn't always hit the drop shot, because you can see Griekspoor, every time the ball's low, he's looking for the drop shot. Just nudge a few deep, try and defend the net, and just respect your opponents come up with a very good play in those moments.
Yeah, just wait for the topspin lob, but no, yeah.
Well, things going nicely for Croatia as Donna Vekic makes her way towards the gym, I would imagine, to warm up. And it looks as though at the moment, if there's a couple more good service games for Borna, that this tie will be very much alive, and Croatia's chances of progressing still at the United Cup will be on the cards.
You almost sound like an Aussie there, Petch, on the cards.
Love 15.
Never looked that comfortable, Borna, in the +1 forehand off the when it comes in off the deuce side cross court to go fast back cross court. More often than not, he tries to take it high up the line.
Is that 2 7 volleys in a row, guys?
Or did he just fall into the court? Well, he's thinking. Whatever works. Not sure how many slices that was in a row, but that's a first. Throwing something different at him.
And he made the net become an obstacle for Coric by keeping the ball so low.
Then stung him with a little bit of pace and drew the error.
The scent of promise hanging in the air at the Ken Rosewell Arena for Team Netherlands.
He didn't want to hit that, did he? He didn't want to hit a volley.
That is not his natural habitat.
He was very tall as he made contact with that eye line and contact point. And not close enough.
Yeah, guys, that was approaching right in the middle of the court there.
Dropped the racket head through contact, just ballooned.
A route back has appeared for Griekspoor. Catastrophic game from Coric. Griekspoor has found a little bit of order amongst the disorder that the second set started with. On serve.
Goed jongen. Klas.
Bit of doubt crept in as he's trying to close it out. That was, I mean, that one forehand early in the rally after that series of slices, I mean, it almost hit the ground before it hit the net.
Maar hij heeft de wedstrijd niet gedaan, dus hij gaat ook in één keer wat anders doen. Precies wat ze zeiden.
One volley there he didn't really want to hit or commit to.
Ja, goed.
That's unfortunate, but Griekspoor is back in it.
Dingen doen, dus. Goeie rally die ene. Slice een beetje spelen. Ja. Goed, het is niet dat hij de backhand gaat missen, maar, nee, maar het is wel uit, ja. Ik moet vandaag naar het net komen, maar doet hij ook weinig. Ja, doet hij niks. Hij kan, ja, nee. Hij vond het niet geweldig. Goed gedaan, jongen. Klas. Binnen wordt helemaal gek. Jouw service. Ja, maar het zijn vaak al return, hè? Het is al zijn
What a polo pick in Australia.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think it is. Private school thing, I think, for water polo. Not too many. No, I went to a public school. There wasn't too many
swimming pools, which is a bit of a downfall.
Yeah, it was hard for us to play water polo, but I would have if we could have.
En dan gooi je een keer lichaam voor en is ook goed, hè?
You've got big sinks. Well, he's had the sinking feeling for the majority of this second set as Griekspoor, but he's re-emerged as a contender.
Love 15.
Point you like to see, Wally, a drop shot off a drop shot?
I do, yeah, well, I was kind of taught that is the answer to a drop shot. They put you in a tough position, just put them back in the same position, but it's actually not that easy to do, but he did it very nicely on that occasion. You see the guys do it really well on clay when they can really slide into the drop shot and then just brush under the ball. That was just a little bit tame to approach on.
15 all.
Lekker voeten weg, joh.
I mean, he also went nowhere, Coric, in terms of his transition into the net. He was so far off it.
Heel glad ijs. Wat verdomme, hè? Zweetdruppeltje.
You know, I like the mindset of him looking to move forward, but he's just doing it on the wrong shots right now, putting himself in a very uncomfortable position.
Daar is hij.
30, 15.
Team Netherlands bench infused with a bit of excitement. It's been a while.
Laatste service. Klaar.
Yeah, it's understandable to lose that focus and play a couple of points like that, just to
Goed blijven staan.
keep remembering that it's his second match since the US Open. So he's hitting the ball well, but they're those things that I think after a few matches he'll iron out.
Gaat hij.
I'll go back to, and that's a nice little serve and volley. Surprising couple from Griekspoor. He's certainly thinking his way back into this match and bringing a few new things. But you watch how many times Borna on that ad side has to do the reverse spin to get himself back in a court. His weight's going at best laterally and at worst, a bit like you've been saying with Griekspoor's forehand, actually backwards. I mean, it takes you that long consistently to get back into the middle of the court. It's tough to keep exerting pressure on players.
Well, you look at the very best returners, that they just don't get into that pattern, do they? It doesn't happen. Very rarely.
Some very nice feel from both guys. Another thing, and sitting right here courtside, what's been very interesting is the Team Netherlands. These guys are on their feet. There's energy coming from their side in the box, and Croatia very quiet. It's very important for Borna to get that energy back up, that body language, pump that fist up, be a little vocal.
Nice little slider tee there from Coric, but once again, it was backwards and across from Griekspoor.
30-15.
Come on.
Get the sense the doubts are slipping into his mind like a crocodile into water at the moment, and he is going to do well to get through this game. Needs first serves. Griekspoor hunting him down. Couldn't have built a better point at a more opportune moment.
And I think that's the... He's been keen to come in, but he hasn't built the point. He hasn't earned the right to come in.
50.
On a few occasions in this set, it's been more of a hit and a hope. And then he's under the pump with the volley or the half volley, but that created plenty of time and space, had his man on the run. More positive point there from Coric, and just giving the backstop a bit of a kick. Has Griekspoor.
Team Croatia.
That was a good game, an immense game, I'm sure, in his own mind, as he pushes
Team
forward
Croatia
in this
lead
second set to 5-4.
Second set.
Bravo.
Some of the teams have had an opportunity to enjoy Sydney and the surrounds, and there is no place, Wally Masur, more iconic than Bondi Beach.
Yeah, well, you're probably talking to the wrong guy, Petch. I live on the sort of the parallel beach on the northern side of the harbour.
I'm not saying it's better, I'm just saying it's iconic.
Yeah.
Perfect spot for a little bit of surfing. It's just that 1 kilometre stretch of beach that so many people know and come to love about Sydney.
I think Manly's 2 kilometres.
I'm not going to even bother trying to win that argument with you.
There's a bridge that separates north and south. We don't cross it too often.
Passports needed.
Ja, ik zie hem zo vooraan. Als jij nog een rekken staat op 5 tegelijk, dat hij een penalty geeft. Dus kijk uit. Zeker nu aan het einde van de wedstrijd.
Time.
Nou, gaat
The
weer.
question mark over Griekspoor is just his mental aptitude. The question mark over Borna is, can he close it out?
He's always been pretty honest, Tallon. He said he was always talented as a junior. When we tell him he was talented, he said, I probably didn't work as hard as I should have done. He said, that's changed. And the mental side of things has certainly substantially improved over the last 12 months. He's going to need to dig deep here.
Love 15.
Gee, you know, the point for me, it starts before you serve. Like in your head, you've got this plan. Slider wide, what will I get? You know, it's all playing out for you. But he was kind of sitting there in the box, hat off, hat on, having a bit of a chat, pretty relaxed, walked out. 2 doubles. Hasn't quite re-engaged with the match.
Has he used up all his powder to get himself back in contention in this second set? That was a point where you just wanted to see Coric put the ball in the rectangle and just test the nerve of Griekspoor.
He had to make Griekspoor beating on that point. He just couldn't give it to him. I mean, Griekspoor, the downward spiral would have been huge if you lost that point. Love 40.
World class.
30.
Oh, we go back to the backhand on the previous point. That just magnifies the mistake right there.
There was hesitation because he was going to do the backward spin. He didn't get out of the corner as quickly as he could have done because he was thinking, and then suddenly saw Griekspoor was at the net.
Yeah.
He has threaded the needle.
Well, one thing Coric won't do is go away. He's a fighter, that's for sure. He's had to beat, courtesy of the injuries that he has sustained. He guesses right, holds his ground, and somehow threads it down the line.
It's match point.
Yes.
Wie zijn de voorhand? Wie zijn de voorhand? Oh, nou, maar deze ook prima. Oh, hij is half.
Guys, I thought that's exactly the kind of shot that Borna was waiting for. That backhand down the line on the rise where I feel like he hits with his eyes closed. Just overcooked it.
Just?
Trying to stay positive here, Wally.
Wow, that just sailed.
Just overcook it, he nuked it.
Advantage, Netherlands.
Interesting game. We've had a few double faults. We've had a nuclear backhand down the line.
Yes.
And Coric regroups very quickly and shows us how it's done on the forehand wing. A little more racket head speed, covers the ball.
Second serve.
We've seen Griekspoor play some perfect topspin lobs, and you just kind of wonder, what did Griekspoor want most right there? He wanted an unforced error. You think maybe Coric, even if he just flips it low at his feet, just make him play.
I was surprised when for the drop shot, I thought he was going to step in and nuke another backhand.
Yeah.
I don't know how many warheads he's got.
That's that point I don't like from Griekspoor. A guy with so much talent, and he can rip the forehand. He gets stuck at a certain level in the court. That just seems to be where the rally will take place from that moment on.
Yes.
There's no shot, nothing high and flippy a la Casper Ruud that might give him a bit of time to work his way back into the court. And then you're just playing defensive slices from maybe 3.5, 4 metres behind the baseline.
That's the failure at the end of that rally, partly caused by a bit of fatigue.
That had to be perfect, and it was. He's got to be a bit careful here, Tallon, because there's a lot more Croatians in the crowd than Dutch.
That was right out of the top draw, as you say, Wally. It had to be perfect, and it wasn't just perfect, it was immaculate. Look where Borna had even started the run from, and he could not get close.
The second bounce was maybe a foot from the net.
I don't know how he found backspin by hitting a volley over his shoulders. Unbelievable.
After that point, he actually asked for a bit of applause from the Croatian section of the crowd. Now that's probably not going to work.
What a kaleidoscope of a game. Double faults, missed opportunities, match point.
3 doubles in this game.
We've seen a bit of everything.
Advantage Team Croatia.
He just drifts in and out of the match, doesn't he?
It looked as though Griekspoor had a solution for the predicament he was in this game, but perhaps not. For a second time, Team Croatia with a chance to win the match. On we go.
Yes.
And he's turned into Pat Rafter. He's just serve-volleying every ball. One man's forgotten how to win.
Deuce.
Put all faults in this game. Serve at 50%. First serve percentage in the second set for Griekspoor. So yeah, the application, it's not there. He's too good a player for those sort of numbers.
He's going to the well too many times on that jump volley.
Team Croatia.
Borna was already running forward after that return.
It's not easy to do either, is it? Charge in, split your step, play the drop volley. It's a hard option.
Game 7 match, Team Croatia. 2 sets to love. 7-6.
What a conclusion to the match for Team Croatia. An absolutely epic game, full of entertainment, full of errors. But ultimately, it keeps Team Croatia in with a chance of potentially progressing here at the United Cup. It was big for Borna individually, but also for them as a country.
I think the right man won this evening, just in terms of his effort, his demeanour. He was in a spot of bother. He faced a couple of set points in that first set, but he found a way. Played a brilliant tiebreak, got off to a flyer, and he's pleased, and rightfully so. Poor old Eve has just been hugged by a very sweaty man. Highly unpleasant. But yeah, great news for Croatia and obviously for Borna. And I mean, as I say, I haven't seen a lot of Tallon play live. He's an interesting player. He's an exciting player, but it was amazing that 2 set points that went wayward kind of just phased him as much as it did.
Yeah, well, he's touched on the fact that he wasn't entirely happy with how the pre-season went, and maybe that had something. He certainly looked a little bit gassed towards the end. One man that is never that way because he is fighting fit, and he has fought to a win, and he's with Mark Philippoussis.
Well, Borna, congratulations. That match had everything. Down 2 set points in that first set, played an amazing tiebreaker. Up a break in the second, you lose a little bit of focus, but what a last game. You must be very happy the way, just to get away with that one.
Yeah. You know, like I said, first set I was feeling very good, and then again on the 5 board, I've actually played honestly very poor game, and that almost cost me the match. Actually, the first set, and then obviously in the second set, you know, I still missed a little bit of the matches and all of that stuff. And maybe if I was playing, you know, in the last 4 months, I would maybe close that out, but I didn't. But I'm just very happy with the last game, obviously, as well.
Yeah, this was very important for you. You've put up Team Croatia one love. I think people have to understand this is your second match since the US Open, right? You've been out quite a few months, and I know that takes time. But again, there's a lot of pressure on you tonight. But let me tell you, how important, or how does it feel to have this kind of support when you come to Australia? The crowd was unbelievable. It must have helped you get over the line there towards the end.
Absolutely amazing crowd. Thank you very much, guys, for coming out. You know, also like you said, I haven't been playing tennis in the last 4 months, so I needed all the extra support, and also thank you very much, guys, for the support. It did mean a lot to me.
Fantastic effort, Borna. Thank you. I'll let you get back to the team, but that was an amazing match. Congratulations.
And once again, touching and alluding to what we all know, that he is a little bit raw in terms of actual matches and putting it all together. But I tell you what, that was a big win for him. And in the compendium of stories that will develop over the Australian summer of tennis, you never know, that may be a big one. He has got form, he is a Masters 1000 champion. That is the rung below the Grand Slams. And possibly with a favourable draw in the Australian Open, he could go deep.
Well, he seems like the type of character that would enjoy the 5-set format too. He's in it for the long haul. crowd are happy. Big percentage of Croatian fans in here tonight, hoping for a win, so they'll be pretty pleased with Borna's first off effort.
As ever, the credits roll, and just too many unforced errors from Griekspoor, particularly on the double faults in that last game. That was extremely costly for him. Got out of the block slowly and never really covered, and really never completely recovered from the opportunity he had in the opening set with the 2 set points on Coric's serve.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, he was 1 for 3, so he only generated 3 break points. He didn't get a couple of them, and it seemed to phase him. But, you know, that's so common in men's tennis, isn't it? I mean, look at Borna. He's 2 for 5. I mean, players are good at saving break points. It's not easy. And you get a little tight. You know, it's not an automatic. It shouldn't be a disappointment. You should just see it as an opportunity missed, but you're building pressure going forward. But Tallon couldn't quite grasp it that way.
Their personal resume, that is 2-0 for Coric. Beat him on the clay courts of Hamburg, beats him here. Donna Vekic is in the gym, and she will be up next against Arantxa Rus, and she also has a 2-0 winning head-to-head against Rus. She'll be hoping that she can continue that type of form. And the mixed doubles and Croatia's chances here at the United Cup will be very much alive.